we are obligated as a business to try and take as much of your money as possible.
That's why we've come up with new products to sell you. We got shirts, we got hats, we got all kinds of things for you.
If you want a Brock Life shirt, if you want a Jetpack Rescue Squad shirt.
Ooh, that salmon cannon shirt's cool.
If you want any of that stuff, you want a hat that says "They's Aliens," we got you. We have concerns.com/shop. Shovel Knight, man.
Shovel Knight. It's a good game.
Fucking Shovel Knight.
It'll be on anything.
Buy
Put
it
it on
7
anything.
times. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Oh, it's time. Remember when you said next time for Alex Salinas?
Whoa!
He just came through.
Did you just double up on the Salinas?
I did. I want to give him that nickname. So what do you got for him, Anthony? He needs a nickname.
Down. He's the double down.
Alex Double Down Salinas.
Because you two were clearly in cahoots.
I'm glad his
What did he
nickname
give
was in
you?
cahoots.
What does he have on you that you picked 2 of his stories in a row?
Well, there's a P tape. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. There's a P tape.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the double down.
The Double Down. This is a really excellent story. Thank you, Alex, for sending it to wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you want a nickname for me too, like a really well thought out nickname that reflects you as a person, I give the worst nicknames. If you want just like a garbage nickname, send in stories, and if we use enough of them, you get a nickname.
That's right. This is a story about Neanderthal teeth. It turns out that...
Oh boy, my favorite kind of story.
Yeah, you're like...
Hold on, let me grab some cocoa and tuck in. Mama, Mama,
Yes.
tell me another story about a Neanderthal's teeth.
Oh, but Junior, you've had a Neanderthal teeth story 3 times this week.
But I love the Neanderthal teeth story, Mama.
Oh, Junior.
Tell us again. Start with the molars.
All right, an incisor and a molar once met on a windy day.
Where was the bicuspid?
Oh,
Where was the bicuspid?
Don't jump ahead, Junior.
Junior, calm down. If you get too worked up, your mama will not be able to tell you any more Neanderthal teeth stories.
You better listen to him, Junior. Use your wisdom. That's a tooth joke. That's a tooth. Wisdom teeth is a tooth thing.
You go to hell and you die, mama. That's your one.
It turns out there's a lot to be learned from Neanderthal teeth. We have been able
If you throw them down with some chicken bones in a circle that you
there's
drew
a
with
lot to be learned.
salt,
You'll know what the weather will be like all week long.
You can learn how the Dayton method of your death.
The date and manner of your demise. Neanderthal teeth. Get them while they're hot.
Why are they hot? Neanderthal teeth. Why are they hot?
You'll know, but you'll also know the manner of your demise. So,
Tell me about Neanderthal teeth.
It turns out that because we are now able to analyze DNA and haven't been able to, for up until now, all of this, there's a gold mine waiting in the plaque buildup between Neanderthal teeth. Some scientists have now started to do DNA analysis of Neanderthal bones that we've had for many, many years, and have learned some really fascinating things about the diet and the method of living and how these specific Neanderthal died and all kinds of stuff because they're able to analyze the plaque buildup that's on their teeth.
Whoa.
The real...
Ew, how long does it take for plaque to just like...
Well, they're not exactly flossing and maintaining good oral hygiene.
No, but like how many... Plaque just lasts for thousands of... Oh, God, my dentist was right.
Yes.
Holy shit, it doesn't break down? Like it never breaks down?
You need to brush daily. You need to floss. Most people don't floss.
I floss.
You need to hydrate.
I floss twice a day.
Yeah, me too. I love flossing.
Oh, love to floss.
You know what's really the worst thing about flossing, though, is what I like about it is when I get stuff.
Yeah.
And getting stuff.
You get like a big
gunk
clump of something and you're just like, fuck
yeah. This was time well spent is what I say.
It's like a crane game.
It's a crane. It's a claw.
It's like a UFO catcher. And you're just like,
I got a sweet stuffed animal.
Oh, damn it. Fuck. Oh, that is a hunk of, what is that, a berry? When did I eat a berry?
Yes, I got something.
Oh, look at that.
That is amazing.
And do you know what marriage is, you guys?
What is marriage?
Marriage is being like, holy shit, honey.
Look at this.
Look at this fucking
Smell
giant.
it.
Look at
It
this.
smells terrible.
Like this giant clump of berry I got out from in between my two
Oh,
teeth.
please don't show me the clump of berry.
No, and then marriage is the other person going, holy shit, when did we have berries? And then you go, right?
Yeah, that's bliss.
That's how you found the one.
Marital bliss.
And things stay sexy.
Also things stay sexy.
Oh, they stay so sexy.
The real irony here is that for most of our scientific history, while we've been finding Neanderthal bones, you know the first thing we do? We strip all the plaque off the teeth to make them more.
To look at the teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Because scientists were like, oh, fuck, I want to look at these teeth. Get all this awful plaquey buildup off here. We got to clean this shit so we can see how these Neanderthal teeth looked. So there aren't a lot
Oh my God.
Doesn't that suck? That sucks, right?
That sucks. Because, like, for you, once you've seen, like, okay, you get one set of Neanderthal teeth, an entire set, right? And you're like, fuck, we did it. We have a whole set of Neanderthal teeth. Now we know what their teeth looked like.
Right.
And then you go, well, we want to know what kind of variations there were. So we need multiple sets of Neanderthal teeth. Once you get like 2 or 3 sets, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of like, all right, we've got them. We know what they look like. What else do we test for? And they just keep like scraping the plaque off and assembling new sets. And they're like, these teeth are a little bigger than the other teeth. You're right.
Yeah.
I can tell by how these teeth were worn down that this guy ate more of this than another one. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go home. What the fuck?
It sucks because there's a lot of data that we literally scraped away
We
and threw
literally
into the
threw
garbage.
out the data. We were like, ugh, get rid of all this data.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm trying to do science. Get this gross data out of here.
But luckily, there are some skulls, some teeth, some jaws that haven't been completely swiped of their DNA. And this study that this article is talking about.
I'm sorry, did you say study?
A study. It was a
This
study.
study.
Yeah, study. This is comparing 2 Neanderthal individuals, one from Belgium and one from Spain. And it turns out that the Belgian Neanderthal was mostly a meat eater. It was a, carnivorous diet.
Sure.
And it ate mostly woolly rhinoceros
Waffles.
and wild sheep.
Okay.
Interesting. While the Spanish Neanderthal seemed to eat mostly vegetables, including moss, pine nuts, and mushrooms.
Yeah, tapas. The Spanish one had tapas.
It was delicious
It was
tapas.
because it's they're lighter and they're small, but you can share. You order a bunch for the whole cave, and you're just like, you share them.
Yeah.
And then the Neanderthal waiter comes around at the end and is like, hey, it's time to settle up the bill. Like, it's
I
like,
gotta
okay.
go to the bathroom.
And there are like 9 Neanderthals sitting around, and they're just like, okay, well, guys,
do you guys notice
we'll
that?
just do it equal. We'll just
you
do it
notice
all.
that Ugluck always goes to the bathroom when it's time to settle up.
I did notice that.
Oh, what a
it's so
douche.
weird.
That
Anyway,
guy
it
is such
doesn't
a
matter
douche.
though. I say we just split it up equal. Of course, you say we just split it up equal, Grog.
Yeah, you ate almost all the moss.
Yeah.
I didn't have any moss.
Not only that, but like Grog hunt very good.
Yes.
Grog mighty hunter. Grog many food.
Well, Grog, we are all
not as much food. Unfair to make us pay equal.
Grog
Ordered 2 bottle fermented milk.
fermented milk is so expensive. I don't think his hunting really plays into it because these guys are just eating vegetables. I don't understand why he's making such a big
Pelts.
deal. Oh, pelts.
Maybe pelts. I don't know.
Yeah, for the tablecloth.
Yeah.
They also were able to scrape out observe some of the microbiomes from these prehistoric individuals.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So they could find out the, bacteria and fungi living on their bodies, and it gave them a really complex picture of the lifestyles of these Neanderthals, which is pretty amazing. So they find out, what diseases they were suffering from, what kinds of stuff they went through, what bacterial strains gave them a hard time. So I'll give you some interesting information here. The Spanish Neanderthal, the one that ate meat, it was
Belgian.
Oh, no, you're right. The Spanish Neanderthal, the one that ate vegetables, was suffering from a dental abscess. So it had some tooth problems.
Oh.
And guess what? It was taking something for the pain. It was taking this subspecies of bacteria that's basically the active ingredient in aspirin.
Wait a second. Number 1, that's amazing.
Right?
Number 2, what the fuck? Is DNA testing just like detective mode from a Batman game?
It really is. You just switch it on scanning, enhance. You just say enhance.
Is this some like Assassin's Creed level living memories bullshit? What is going on where it's like just from, okay, clearly from the plaque, you can tell certain things that it ate, right? But like, how do you pull motive from that or like cause and effect from that? Like, that's what's crazy to me. And this is my other thing about DNA testing and bacterial testing. Like, okay, from this DNA testing, we have seen, oh, this is where this Neanderthal was between 9 and 5 p.m. This is what this Neanderthal ate. This Neanderthal had this sort of problem, was taking this sort of plant for it. This is what the Neanderthal liked to do on Thursdays.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
DNA testing in court fucks up all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because, like, oh, there were 2 bloods and it fucked up the blood.
We can't ever.
What the shit?
We're not going to convict this Neanderthal of any crimes.
No, but we're going to extrapolate its entire life and be like, well, this is what we think and this is what we know.
Well, I mean, I think the idea here is
where's the court of science?
That's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. Where is the court of science? Is this being reported as this is what we know or this is what we think?
I think that it says the idea of looking at tooth plaques for clues about life in ancient times has been around for decades, but it isn't until the advent of super high-powered microscopy? Microscopy?
Mycroft. He's Sherlock Holmes' older brother.
Until Mycroft got involved.
Yeah.
Precision genetics tools, they were able to drill down into prehistoric plaques and really perceive what might be lurking there. So, I mean, they are putting some dots together that might not. But if you see that the Neanderthal was suffering from something that caused pain, and then you see the active ingredient in aspirin, I think it's pretty clear to infer that they were taking it for pain relief. I mean, maybe it's a logical leap, but it's a bit of a leap, because couldn't it also have been used if it's a primarily plant-based diet? It could have just been a regular part of the diet that just happened. Like, we now looking back, right? There's always this thing where we infer a certain amount of knowledge. We take knowledge that we take for granted and put it back onto things that don't necessarily have that knowledge. Well, it also says that
I'm down for it, and I'd like to believe it's true. I mean, obviously, early civilizations learned that certain plants and certain foods had certain properties, right? Of course they did. That's where natural medicine comes from. So I do believe it, but I do kind of have a little bit of an issue with just saying it as though it's a thing.
Okay, fair enough. They also said that that individuals had diarrhea and vomiting.
Sure. And probably almost all the time.
I would guess that that's like 90% of being a Neanderthal is
I would imagine at that point in
awful digestion.
The history, in that point in natural history, just about everything.
And it says they may have turned to antibiotic producing molds for treatment. There was genetic material from Penicillium rubens found in the plant matter in their teeth. So
just like that episode of Sliders.
I don't watch that. You've brought up Sliders so many times. I've never watched an episode.
That episode of Sliders where they go to this planet and everybody's dying of this plague, and and it's this horrible plague that's mutating everybody, and they're just like, what, we got to solve it. And then they figure out that they slid into a world that never invented penicillin. And so they invent penicillin.
That's cool.
And save the whole world.
Seems like a good show. I maybe should.
It's a great show. That. Welcome to our Sliders fan cast.
All Sliders all the time. The coolest thing about this research, by the way, is that because you can look at the microbiome of a very specific group of people that ate a very specific thing over a long period of time, you can understand, they're getting a better understanding of how dietary changes affect your microbiome. The problem with being able to do any kind of research now is you can't take a group of people and say, only eat this for 200 years. Or only eat stuff that comes from this region for 70 years.
God, I wish we could.
We could. That would be amazing.
I wish
we
people
would
would
have
just
a lot of data of just like people on a thing. But what Neanderthals give us is that exact data. You have a group of people that were stuck in this very spot. You can figure out what stuff they had access to, and you understand how that stuff affected their microbiome over decades.
Yeah.
So they're able to sort of track how different it is from where we are now and how different one group in Belgium is to one group in Spain, and understand the relationship between diet and how microbiomes are created inside your system.
Wow. And surely this just comes from...
Don't call me Shirley.
A lack of our beginnings of understanding about the microbiome right now.
Mhm.
You know, we take everything we know about DNA sort of for granted now, but it took a long time for us to learn everything. And now analyzing DNA and figuring things out from DNA seems like a very cut and dry process to us, and a process that has like a scientific procedure. It's like, oh, this is how you figure things out. To me, it feels like the microbiome and studying the microbiome must be so messy, because it really is just like, it's this gut bacteria, right? Or just the bacteria over your whole body. And that changes based on environment. It changes based on who you come into contact with.
It's hard to isolate those changes.
Yeah, and just little bitty changes can come. You can change your microbiome, you know, with 3 weeks of diet.
Yeah.
What is like, how do you figure out, like, it must be such a fascinating area of research right now.
Yeah. And they also found out that the Neanderthal strain that they're looking at originated about 125,000 years ago, at the time when Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were interbreeding. We kind of now believe that Neanderthals and human beings, or, you know, human ancestors, Homo sapiens, were getting it on.
Yeah.
Doing the funky chicken. Because why not?
Because why
not?
Know,
if you have a Neanderthal that's all it's doing is experiencing vomiting and diarrhea, there's nothing more attractive at any given time than that.
Don't kink shame on this podcast. I've told you 15,000 times, do not kink shame on this podcast. But
and the thing that they've found out that's crazy by analyzing their teeth is that they transferred microorganisms orally.
Of course they did.
Motherfuckers were kissing. Because, whoa! Motherfuckers were kissing.
Married?
You're mocking, but up to this point, people thought of interbreeding as a very violent act that didn't have any romance to it.
That's so weird.
They found Barry White albums. They found candle wax. Dude, they found satin sheets.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Much more advanced than we thought they were.
The Neanderthals and the humans, they knew what was up.
I think it's so funny that we assume that because the two species were different, and not hugely different, but different.
Yeah.
That it must have been like some sort of like violent for, you know, this was for the purposes of breeding. And
well, in nature, a lot of that happens.
But Neanderthals and Homo sapien, pretty evolved.
Not completely.
Not as evolved as we are, but pretty evolved, right?
Well, it turns out they were smooching it on.
So why wouldn't they be smooching?
I mean, I guess we don't give them enough credit for smooching.
Nobody gives enough credit to smooching.
You got to start with the smooch.
Smooching's role in science.
Dude, it's like I've been trying to tell you about those two scientists that work together.
Listen.
I'm just saying.
Obviously,
eventually,
love is a huge thing. Smooching is a huge thing. But those two scientists are already in love. They're in love with their significant others. They're both married.
No,
they're very
I know,
happy.
but they work together so much, and they find out all this new information about the Neanderthals.
Of course they do.
And if you're talking about smooching all day long, and you're looking across the table that's strewn with tooth plaque that you've been DNA testing all day long.
Nothing sexy about that.
Well, you think in yourself, you know, these Neanderthals and these humans, maybe they had the right idea. And oh my gosh, I've never looked at Dr. Thigh Bear that way before.
No, that's probably not it. What they probably did was they probably just like texted their wives or their husbands and were just like, yeah,
like
cool.
a smooch emoji.
Yeah, and just like, oh, thinking of you. Like we found out that like love goes back like hundreds of thousands of years, and I'm just thinking about you and
Listen,
blah blah blah.
I'm not trying to insinuate that any of them are unfaithful to their betrothed.
Yeah.
All I'm saying,
but you are, because you're saying like
you're working hard.
You're saying they're going to.
You're just a simple smooch, just a simple just one.
They would never
quick smooch in the middle of the afternoon.
They're colleagues.
Yeah,
they can be.
They're
colleagues.
very professional.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
Yeah, thank you.
But I kind of think maybe once,
no,
just one time just to see.
There's no will they, won't they? These two scientists are they're just colleagues and they're good friends.
But will they?
They were probably in each other's weddings, man.
Yeah, that was probably an awkward moment.
No, it was probably a beautiful moment.
Oh, you're right. Beautiful, but with a tinge of awkward.
No, because you have your good friend there. Man, we can't even do this.
Okay.
There's no time to do this.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
I just want
scientists
them
and
to
friends.
smooch so bad.
Why? Don't put that on them.
I'm trying not to.
That's
but
really unfair of you.
Just working together all day.
No, you're like pushing back. You're like pushing back professional relationships.
No, I'm
it's
sorry.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
But it could be super cool.
Smooching. and bacteria.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing that we've learned all this stuff from the plaque of teeth of Neanderthals. Imagine how much more we would have learned if none of that
We
plaque
hadn't
had
thrown
been
away all the
cleaned
fucking
off.
plaque.
The goddamn dentist scientists who've been cleaning teeth.
Hey, wait a minute.
I've been living a lie.
The things I eat end up in my plaque. We're trying to find out what they eat. Guys, do you kind of fall on my side of this, which is like maybe we're getting a lot of evidence jumbled? I still think this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's great that we can even kind of tell this stuff and infer this stuff, but surely we need to look more.
Do you fall on my side of things, which is they should probably smooch at some point?
That's not even what we're talking about.
Sorry.
But I guess you could answer either question on Twitter. I'm at @acarboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
And you can hashtag those will they, won't they. Remember not to put an apostrophe in a hashtag. It's will they, won't they without an apostrophe. Otherwise, you break the hashtag.
Can't break that hashtag.
Never break the hashtag. Never break the chain. The circle must go unbroken. And you must throw Neanderthal teeth and bones into it. And that is the only way you will tell your own demise. Good day.